Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV, episode 190. The pivot. Hold on. How y'all doing? What up, Pop? What up, Regina? Peace to Duke in the chat. How y'all doing? Another week has passed. Hope you had a stress-free week as possible. As always, we got some topics to get into today. Hold on. How y'all doing? What's up? Wake it up. I use that sound in a minute. Regina says, I've been binging Tyler Perry Debauchery, aka Beauty in Black, on Netflix. Man, one thing about Tyler Perry is at least you're warned before you watch him. Because whatever he's up to, somebody somewhere on the internet is going to speak on it. So, thankfully, I was able to see a reaction to the show before I actually clicked on it. Yeah. Tyler Perry on another one. Tyler Perry he's on 10 right now. He's went further than he's ever went. He went from the so-called church audience to complete sex debauchery, as Regina said. Just that's all it's about. Lust. Constant lust in his movies now. Tyler Perry making stripper movies and prostitute escorts. And what's funny is his shows get renewed every time for season 2 and 3 and so on and so forth. So no matter what we say, he has a very loyal base. Which is why he make the movies he do and the TV shows he do. Because his audience shows up. Every time he releases a movie or a TV show, a good portion of the black community in particular kick his back in. Because we know it's going to be on some BS. But then after 2 weeks, we see that he made $100 million. He generated $250 million. He generated $80 million. So, I mean, if you generate that type of money, you know what they're going to keep on doing? Greenlighting everything you want. So, it's a losing battle fighting against Tyler Perry because his audience made him a billionaire. So, whatever his audience supports is what he's going to make. Virginia says, facts, TV shows actually create fans who become actors online. LOL. Shake my head. Yeah, I think maybe that's some of the charm. Is that people watch his movies and TV shows and they feel like they can actually fit their skills and talent could fit that scenario. So they go online and make their internet shows and they end up in one of his movies years later. So I don't know, man. Virginia said, I'm realizing he is a cult follower. Yes, he definitely has cult followers. I remember some dude made a joke. A brother had a video that went viral on TikTok that ended up across all platforms. And he was talking about how he made a video joking on Tyler Perry and his movies. And apparently he got a bunch of backlash from his audience. They was saying how you don't talk about another brother like that and all the other stuff. He said he had an older black man to get in his comment section and said, brother, delete that video. They was threatening to stop watching his content, all type of stuff. So Tyler Perry's audience is very loyal, supportive, and, congratulations to him, I guess. I'll never forgive him. I remember when he apologized. Well, he didn't apologize, but he tried to help people understand why he made the content he do and the whole Medea thing. When he did that award speech, he announced that he bought that military base and turned it into his studio. And every black person in America was supportive. That speech was so good. Everybody said, "Oh, we're gonna give him a second chance. Hopefully, change up his content, hire some writers. We're gonna really rally behind Tyler Perry." And then he came out with what was it, Medea's Halloween or something, and he kept on doing the same OBS. So it is what it is at this point. Anyway, enough of Tyler Perry. But speaking of studios, I am going to jump right into an update on the Katt Williams studio. Katt Williams details plans for military base turns movie studio. So I said, we talked about a lot of these actors and entertainers began to buy land, particularly in the South. I could have sworn that Tyler Perry had bought part. Because we talked about this a few months ago when it was announced. I feel like I feel like initially the report was that it was in South Carolina. I could have sworn that's where it said it was, but apparently no. It's actually in Alabama. What up, Kiefer? Now I'm gonna show a little clip of him on the late night show talking about it and his plans. Let me show this.
I heard that you bought a military base in Alabama. Is that true? A military base?
As starving comedians would do.
Now, I don't know if you're being truthful or not. Did you really buy one?
Yeah, Fort McClellan. Yeah,
What?
because the reason why like my life works in golf and off the golf course is because I follow instruction well, right? Mm-hmm. So if I see somebody do a good job, I just want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow the example.
Yeah.
Right? So Tyler Perry got a military base.
That's correct.
Made it into a movie studio and started making movies. Katt Williams.
Bought a military base. Are you making movies?
I'm not wearing dresses. Yeah, making movies.
Congratulations.
And you're invited to film out there. Like, come do an episode out there, and it's going to be wonderful.
Come on, bro. Thank you. I would totally do that. Finally,
What I got from this too is especially that comment about dresses. Almost like he's saying, I'm gonna try to do it the way that Tyler Perry won't do it. I'm gonna try to make we see a problem. We see somebody who has built their own empire, their own way, and instead of complaining about how they do it, if you want something to change, do it your own way, I guess. So congratulations to Katt Williams. Now I will say, when you announce things like this, people begin to wait for it. So just the same thing happened with 50 Cent. We saw, back and forth and the jokes between him and Rick Ross, where Rick Ross is making jokes about, hey, where's that studio? Did you get those loans? And yada, yada, yada. You don't want to end up like Umar, where for a decade, people are asking you about one thing. Hey, where's this at? Where's this studio at that you was building? What's going on? But yeah. Virginia said you'd like to get excited for these guys, but unfortunately, the higher they climb, the more they end up selling their souls and the culture. Despite saying they won't. We'll see regarding Katt Williams. Yeah, I will say this though. I remember the Katt Williams that Shannon Sharp interview, and although we all admit that Katt Williams did a lot for Shannon Sharp with that interview, I think he got like 80 million views now. Katt Williams' platform is, sorry, not Katt Williams. Shannon Sharp's platform was already a big platform. Katt Williams completely shot their platform into the stratosphere. And that benefited Shannon Sharp a lot. But I do recognize that Katt Williams' image definitely was recovered because of that interview. I remember in the early 2010s when Katt Williams was the butt of a lot of jokes, when he was out here fighting with 13, 12-year-olds. I remember when people were making jokes about him being in and out of jail and stuff, when people were saying the Illuminati was after him and stuff like that on the internet. So he's benefited a lot over the last couple of years by just being out of the headlines for certain things, obviously. But that interview definitely helped his image be repaired as well. So congratulations to him. And the reason why I said it is because Katt Williams, when he critiqued somebody like Kevin Hart for getting opportunities very quickly the second he stepped foot into the industry, the same was said about Katt Williams. Katt Williams came in, and within a few years, he was getting, big roles in, box office films, or at least black films. So I wouldn't say that he's going to sell his soul or whatever. I think whatever he would have done, he's already done it. And maybe it didn't work out for him or whatever, and now he's on a new path, as they say. So we shall see, as you say. All right. Speaking of somebody repairing images, somebody really got it out for this dude. Jonathan Majors, I know. This storyline is a year's worth of smaller stories into a bigger one. Jonathan Majors breaks silence about audio leak admitting he strangled ex-girlfriend. First, I want to give a hand clap to Jonathan Majors' PR team. They have done a fantastic job the last year or so, doing the best they could to help his public image be repaired. Because it's like he was pretty much done once his talent agency dropped him and all this other stuff. But man, talk about vindictive. So apparently a leak was an audio leak came out of Jonathan Majors allegedly talking to his ex-girlfriend, the Caucasian chick, saying that he had gassed her. She said, "You choked and did this to me." He said, "Yes, that goes in line with a gas." The fact that someone held this audio for however long and waited until this movie, Magazine Dreams, was dropping, to drop it at the same time to try and destroy any possibility of repairing himself and getting himself back into the light of Hollywood, it clearly shows me that, one, somebody in the industry do not want him around. One of these producers, directors, or another actress maybe, somebody do not want him around. Maybe it's some writer, because the Rolling Stone they're the ones that did the initial hit piece, and then now they're the same ones that released this audio. So maybe it's the female writer at Rolling Stone. But man, to hold on to that right this moment shows that it's not really about justice. It's more about just destroying someone. But to be honest with you, the reaction from the people who were never going to support him was pretty much what you expect. But to the casual person that's not really interested in this story that much, I don't think they care. I think he did an interview with Breakfast Club, which I will play some clips of, where he answered some questions. I don't think as many people cared. I will say this, though. Michael B. Jordan, he just came out and said I want to work with him. That's his brother. He can't wait to have him in what's it called, Creed 4 and all this other stuff. And now we'll see if that if he reneges or not. Then it said, which came first, chicken or the egg? This article or the marriage to Megan? Well, it was announced around the same time, like right after the audio leak came out. The same day, or maybe the next day, him being married to Megan Good was announced. How they were already married. So I don't know if he did that to try and cover the other headline or whatever, which we kind of understood for the last year what Jonathan Majors and his PR team's plan was. The plan is to ingratiate him with the black audience, particularly the black female audience. They're trying to get him a strong base so that he'll automatically have support. As I always say, in Hollywood, if you're black, you can be wealthy, you can be successful, but you will not be protected and you won't be relevant without a black base. I remember when a few years ago, I bring this up all the time, when Kevin Hart, he's at the top of the comedy industry, he's at the top of the world, and he released a few specials, and a lot of black people were saying, this ain't fun, this ain't funny no more. Kevin lost his funny. And he reacted to that because he knows that in Hollywood, if you're a black person who don't got a lot of black support, it don't matter what your numbers are, how many white people, how many people of other races come out and support you. What is your base? Do they support you? So it's very important. So let me go to this right here. In this, he said, in a recent interview at the Jonathan Majors addresses the leaked audio in which he allegedly admits to assaulting his ex-girlfriend, yada, yada, yada. When asked about the leaked recording, he expressed gratitude for the personal growth. He stated, I was so grateful that I had done my work and continue to do my work. I can't speak to it, but obviously, because you're talking about it, there are vibrations, reverberations, same as everything before, but I was happy I've done my work. So very vague, pretty much didn't try to move around and not acknowledge it as much. But I want to play this clip here from an interview he did with the Breakfast Club. He was asked about a few things. Jonathan Majors says he wants to play Kane the Conqueror again. Let me go to another one first before I get to that one, because I don't think that's ever happening. Let me play this one. Hold on. So this one here, Charlamagne asked him about the former Yale classmates who said that he was emotionally abusive. He gives his reaction to Michael Elliott's hug, yada, yada, yada. Let me just play a little of this.
Saying that before, that's the game. You know?
I remember, and Lauren, you probably know, but I remember there was an article that came out, and it was just a bunch of different people, you know, saying you were emotionally abusive to them, and you know, verbally abusive, and you know, they worked with you before, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. When that came out, did you ever look at any of that stuff and say, okay, some of that might be justified? I might have been an asshole in that situation.
That article, you know,
They were talking about from college days, so you're not the same man. Is what I'm
yeah. Well, there's some how to come at this one. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, watch this. As far as I'm just gonna say some facts, okay? About school. And this I went to North Carolina School of the Arts, and I also went to Yale. When I was at Yale, I was on a full scholarship. We all were. I was also on a Lloyd Richards scholarship. Our brother Lloyd Richards brought in August Wilson camp, all that stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. Rest in peace. I was a recipient of that. When that information happened, when that started being said, that's when I went. That was hard, because I go, this is Yale University. Where's the write-up? If all of this is true, where's the write-up? From my administration, from my dean, where is it? That was the only thing in which I got involved, because it was supposed to be family, right? I got involved and went, show me the paperwork. Not my lawyer, I hit my dean and said, show me. Said, no, there's nothing there. I still have the email. You know what I mean?
All right, so I ain't gonna lie. Some of these answers were very. He didn't know how to answer some of these questions. He stuttered a lot with this. I will say this though. Clearly, he went into the interview willing to answer anything. He's willing to answer anything, and they asked him everything. Charlamagne, of course, is gonna be the person that asked him. He did the best he could with that. I don't think this interview means anything at this point. I think the people who are going to be against him will be against him. And like I said earlier, he also brought up the fact, as Virginia brought up the marriage earlier, he brought up that Megan Good took a hit by standing by him, saying that she lost endorsements, she was disinvited from places, because they knew he would be there with her if she came. And then he said he regret calling a white woman his Coretta. So, yeah. What up, Mark? Yeah. Then when he came out and said he wants to be Kane the Conqueror, how he sent a letter to the director or whatever, and he brought up Robert Downey Jr. and Jeremy Renner. He brought up Robert Downey Jr., how these people were regarded a certain way in the industry, and they were able to repair themselves and skyrocket to the top of the industry once again. The main person he should have kept bringing up is that the guy who played Flash. Hold on, let me. Flash. What's this guy's name? Hold on, y'all. Yeah, Ezra Miller. That was the main person he probably should have focused on. Maybe he didn't want to compare himself to somebody like Ezra Miller, because he was actually accused of sexual assault and a few other things, like actual domestic abuse and stuff. So you don't really want to even compare yourself to somebody who was actually guilty of it. But that should have been the main person he focused on in his comparisons about how the industry treat that person after being found guilty, and allow him to continue his role versus him. Now, obviously, the race factor comes in. But don't lean on it too much. At the end of the day, you made a decision to do certain things, and you got caught around the wrong person. It is what it is. I haven't watched the movie yet. Since I saw it in theaters, Magazine Dreams. I might watch it at some point, but I'm gonna see what goes on with him in the next 6 months or so. It's gonna be very interesting, and I want to see this marriage with him and Megan Good. Where does that go? But anyway, Anyway, let's move on to some more updated stories. Let me show this. White couple who adopted black children and forced them to work as slaves learns fate. Janae K. Whitefield Feather, 63, and Donald Lance, 62, were found guilty of forced labor, human trafficking, child abuse, and neglect in January. They have been sentenced to a total of 300+ years in prison. Congratulations to them. I guess they earned that, didn't they? Judge said they never took responsibility for what they were doing. And this West Virginia couple was sentenced to decades in prison this week for abusing some of the adopted children who were black, including by forcing to perform heavy labor like slaves, trafficking, child abuse, neglect. The wife, who was convicted of the same charges for violating her children's civil rights, was sentenced to 215 years behind bars. They were convicted in January. You brought these children to West Virginia, a place that I know is almost heaven, and you put them in hell. The judge declared, saying during the sentencing, the court will put you in yours, and may God have mercy on your souls, because this court will not. All right, next one. This was a story that I saw last week, but I didn't talk about it. Grieving family members suspect foul play in Bell Mountain deaths of twins. Twin brothers, Malik Lewis Nazir, were found dead earlier this month by a hiker on Bell Mountain, what authorities are calling a murder-suicide. The brothers were both 19, were discovered on March 8th at the top of the mountain, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Both men were found with gunshot wounds. The preliminary investigation suggests the deaths have been a murder-suicide. The GBI's medical examiner has completed autopsies on the twins, but the official ruling and results are pending additional forensic tests. According to the post on GoFundMe, the twins' aunt and young man would never have taken their own lives. The families are demanding further investigation. Family members told Fox 5 that the twins were scheduled to fly to Boston on March 7th to visit friends, but never made their flight out of Atlanta. The airline tickets were still in their wallets when their bodies were discovered the next day on a mountain by a hiker. Loved ones said the teens had never visited the area where they were found, 2.5 hours away from Atlanta, and they insist there was no way this was a murder-suicide. They're assisting the county sheriff office in the investigation. Virginia said this is a horrible and doubtful murder-suicide. Even though the firefighter has been arrested, I wonder if an Uber driver or such was involved too. Yeah, very strange story. They were supposed to be on their way out of, as they said, on their way out of there. But they didn't show up to the airport. They ended up finding them later in the mountains, top of the mountains. This very strange, unfortunate story. I'm saying this though. The fact that they found them is shocking. That these type of cases where you don't even find the people no more. These are type of when you talk about people to be body snatchers, start taking the organs and stuff. This is a very strange story. There's barely any information on it. There's not much. There's nothing on the bone. They haven't put nothing really public yet. This is the farthest they've gotten. So we will see. There's nothing much here to talk about. Just it's sad, man. Family members just go missing and you find them and there's just no answers and you just gotta wait for somebody to hopefully do what's right. Virginia says math ain't mathin' at all. At all. All right, what's next? Oh, we can run through this right here. Google to pay $28 million after settling lawsuit stating it favored white and Asian workers for promotions and raises. But I thought the Asians were saying that they were being discriminated against. Anyway, a lawsuit stating Google favored white and Asian workers has been settled, according to CNN. A former Google employee who identifies as Mexican and racially indigenous brought forward a lawsuit that claimed the tech giant offered lower salaries and job levels to those of Hispanic, Latino, Native American, Indigenous, American Indian, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and Alaskan Native employees at Google. It was filed in 2021. Now, I got confused because if I'm not mistaken, there's a law that they passed sometime last year or the year before. Maybe it was hard year before, where Pacific Islanders, Alaskan natives were connected to Asians. That Asian hate crime bill, didn't they have Pacific Islanders and Alaskan natives included in that? As in they were the same demographic? But in this lawsuit, obviously this person is saying that these groups were actually discriminated against in favor of Asians and obviously white people. And it's also sad, there was a case, I think it was Tesla. I don't know, I can't remember, it was some factory, a big factory in California. I can't remember if it was Tesla or not. I'm pretty sure it was Tesla. Where the entire building was racist as hell. The Mexicans were extremely racist towards the blacks. There was a lawsuit. I think it ended up getting settled or something. I can't even remember. It is funny how these type of cases get settled, but this was in 2021 this was filed. So it took 4 or 5 years for this to get settled. And I don't know if 28 million is really that much if it's including a good number of people. But it is funny how they get some level of justice in theirs. But everybody else, you know, a certain demographic can't get anything. Now I'm gonna run through this. AI could take your next drive-through order. Taco Bell parent, Yum Brands, and NVIDIA's partnership explained. Don't gotta go into the story. This is proof that entry-level jobs are about to be replaced with AI, which we've been seeing at these fast food restaurants forever. And with the economy going the way it's going, or how it's been, should I say, it's going to create an environment where younger people, who these are the jobs they typically go to begin their work experience sometimes, or even just for a summer job, they're not going to have access to this. So this will really affect low-income areas the most, obviously, because people who live in those areas that those jobs are some level of finance for them, they're not going to get it. So when you see crime going up and then you do something like this, which means crime is going to continue to rise. It's going to get worse. If the people who have the lowest income are not even having the opportunity to get the jobs that pay the least, then they're going to have to start getting into the way, unfortunately. Dollar General CEO flags alarming shift in customer behavior. What's the customer behavior? They ain't shopping at Dollar General. Dollar General, which has almost 20,000 locations nationwide, is starting to feel the impact of unexpected shift in customer behavior. CEO is flagging the source of the problem. In Dollar General's 2024 fourth quarter earnings report, the company revealed that the same store sales increased by 1.2% year over a holiday season. The average amount of money customers spent per purchase spiked by 2.3%. However, Dollar General saw customer traffic in the stores dip by about 1% year over year. Its operating profit shrunk by 49%, which the retailer claims was partially due to store closures. During the company's March 13 earnings call, Dollar General CEO Todd said the company has noted the financial situation of its customers has worsened. So people can't go afford to shop at Dollar General as much. You're taking away low-end jobs from certain areas that's deal with poverty. This is just painting the picture of what's about to turn into. I want to show this video. I want to show this right here of 2 Chainz talking about what happened to him.
I don't know. This jump been happening, but it's on my heart right now. I'm just walking on Peter Street. Y'all know that building right there? That's Halo. That's my building. Esco is right here in front of me, and in the back there is Pamper. I shut Pamper down. I do a lot for the, all that, do a lot for community stuff, but really my businesses, they help women. You know what I'm saying? Esco is mostly women that work there. The nail shop was all women. Pizza store, obviously Candyland, but for a girl that was working in there for me, with me, Dom, to go back in there and steal all the stuff out of there, the TVs, the sofas, I'm gonna be able to get it, but I just feel like, I mean, it's been happening. I don't know why I'm walking with Halo. He asking all these questions like, why all the stuff gone? Because the girl went back in there and stole everything out of there. And I ain't gonna press charge. I ain't gonna do nothing. But I just want you to see this and feel this.
This goes into that whole helping the hood thing too. He decided to invest back into his neighborhood and help those people who need it. and somebody took advantage of his kindness and decided to steal from him. But as I was pointing out in those two articles before, if people make bad decisions when things get tight. Not everybody tighten their belt and just, put their head down. Some people, they go do things that's out of the ordinary for them. Or maybe they just, some people that's just who they are. Regina says, dang, everybody gangster, huh? Yeah. And then keep in mind, he even made sure to point out it's the women that work for him. So this is not his main people that work for him are women. And even they, even they doing some stuff. Maybe even they starting to become into that life of crime. So I know it was bad in the economy when dudes, that's somebody everybody keeps saying, it's bad when dudes start robbing strippers. I think that was like a year ago, 2 years ago, you started seeing videos pop up all around the country, particularly in Atlanta and Texas though. Or Houston in particular, Dallas and Houston. You started seeing these videos pop up of dudes robbing strippers. Like, you upping on a stripper, dog? Come on, man. Come on. Virginia says, that's what I mean. The women are now gangster too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's a new thing, though. I think in the life of the streets, the women aren't really put on front street because just a lot of dudes still have that level of man first mentality, so they don't put as much of a light on the women. So it is what it is. And I want to show this right here. Pastor has something to say about these. They call the young black males now. They call them YNs, young niggas. That's a whole thing they've created, basically referring to the young thugs, the young gangsters, the 14, 15-year-olds that walk around in these masks and be threatening to rob people. Let me play this.
And I'm here to tell you, as a middle school teacher at my old school, 7th and 8th grade, when everybody wants to be a YN, walking around with ski masks on your face. I take ski masks because I tell them, if you catch me outside of this school and walk up on me with a ski mask on, you liable to go see the Lord. Don't walk around with a ski mask on because it ain't no snow out here in Negro. You can't ski.
I'm sorry, I gotta play that part. I gotta play the last part again.
Go see the Lord. Don't walk around with a ski mask on because it ain't no snow out here in Negro. You can't ski.
So the pastors are now threatening to defend themselves and what's going on out here in these streets. I mean, we see stories all the time of, we talked about it last week with the rapper who was killed with his daughter in the car. He tried to run, and the man, it looked like the dude shot him, went back to the car, and continued shooting at the car with the little girl in it. I'm not going to just say they intended to do it. It's worse enough they actually did it. But if they intended to do it, then it's bad out here. Jen said, I saw this video the other day, and I had to look up YN and this meaning. Yeah, they started saying it a little while ago, YNs. I don't really like when people put those type of names on certain behaviors, or at least certain demographics they deem like it's like a gang member. Let that be enough. It's like saying I'm black, I ain't a nigga. It's like, I don't really like that. What up, brilliant? Peace to the gods and goddesses, Pastor Debauchery. Yeah, he upping on everybody. No games. Virginia says me either. Yeah, I don't like the whole putting a name on. Just let them be either gang bangers. Just leave it at that. When you start putting those type of names on it, it leads to more. It dehumanizes. Let it be what it is. Gang members, the young men in the streets. I don't like the other stuff. But anyway, let me more economy. I'm gonna jump through this. Tim Walsh cheers. Tesla stocks tumble, but Minnesota State employees pension owns over 1 million shares. Walsh has been touring red states with town halls and is thought to be considering a 2028 presidential run. Y'all see they saying they want Bernie Sanders and AOC to be the ticket for 2028, which is almost a soft launch for. Not really a soft launch. It's really more of a launch for AOC. The Tesla stocks thing, they call them people Tesla terrorists because they're going around destroying the property, Tesla property. Elon is mad, boy. That I think their stock dropped. He lost. They say he lost like how much money they say he lose? How much of his wealth they say he lose? Like a couple $100 billion. Some crazy number they say he lost. Or at least his net worth went down. obviously I expect the stock to go up at some point because these people never lose when you got those type of ties in finance and in government. But man, it's falling, ain't it? The Dems are done. Yeah, I don't know. Brilliant says, I'm so done with this reality. Black people, get your popcorn. These white folk crazy. Oh, that's what I've been saying for 2 years. Everything I talk about when it comes to politics, geopolitics and stuff, it's just me pointing out the craziness going on. As far as having an emotional attachment to it, you shouldn't. The same way you shouldn't be trying to save it. It is what it is. Stop trying to. You can't be a person that say this country is so bad and oppressive and negative and then want to save it from destroying itself. Like, it is what it is. That's what makes me so confused to these so-called black progressives, these so-called revolutionaries who constantly trying to. We should have got Kamala in and we should have got these people in. It's like, if you think this country is that bad, why do you want it to exist? Shouldn't you be happy that if you think Trump is destroying the country, shouldn't you be celebrating? Like, I see this big trend down south of the dance they're doing, the little cowboy dance with the fans. It's a big deal down there right now, it seems, or at least it's viral on the internet. I don't know how in real life how many people doing it. And it's like, yeah, just go dance and drink your sweet tea and mind your business. They ain't got nothing to do with you. Virginia said, y'all notice folks are trying to blame Negroes for all of that's going on. Like Brilliant said, eat your popcorn, sip your whatever, watch the clown show. Well, yeah, I'm going to get to that later, because I've been saying it I've been beating it like a dead horse for the past year. It ain't got nothing to do with black people. They're using you as the front to pass what they're really trying to do, but we'll get to that later. There's Elon Musk's dad touts friendship with black servants to show his son isn't racist. I don't need to read this article. It is what it is. GOP lawmaker booed at North Carolina town hall, escorted from building. So this guy is the lawmaker, the GOP lawmaker in North Carolina. I think his name is, Representative Chuck Edwards, Republican. He was at a town hall meeting. They booed him because the supporters, assuming they support Republicans, some of them I'm sure voted for Trump. They blamed Trump for trying to extort Ukraine. They said that he was moving weird, trying to affect Panama with the canal and Greenland and threatening to annex Canada in these places. They're saying he's moving like a bully. And I'm shocked because the way Trump has moved the second he stepped a toe in office this last election, he's moved like old America. He's moved like 50s America. Really, you can go all the way up to the 90s where we do what we want to do. We say we want to, being very brash and, arrogant, whatever. We're tired of playing the soft shoe. We're tired of trying to use soft power, soft skills. We telling you what we want, and we're letting it be known what we're going to get. They're trying to get back on their bully. Jenna says, not a damn thing, dude. Crazy folks are trying to scapegoat us for the ship going down when we was always at the bottom, if even on the damn ship. I tell you, when I saw that video, the comment I saw with it was a white man who said, my kids can't get jobs because they aren't black. The white man said, my children can't get jobs because they aren't black. That's how much they've pushed that DEI stuff where they actually believe that they're being locked out of their own economy and that black people are at the forefront of the economy now. That black people are the ones accepting all these roles in government and all these positions in corporate America and stuff. It's black people benefiting. It's crazy. So they booed him. So Trump support, I have noticed the last couple of weeks from his own base. I saw it with even with the JFK files released last week. I've seen a lot of his most ardent supporters are starting to critique him a lot more. I'm not gonna say he's losing their support, but they're definitely critiquing him a lot more with his moves. They don't like how he's moving in some of these places, especially with Elon, with Doge. His comments, Elon's comments about immigrants being Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy, when they made those comments about immigrants coming from more educated cultures and better cultures and how America needs to reinvent their culture back to what it used to be. They offended a lot of people with that. Elon Musk Neuralink files to trademark telepathy. The brain implant company, co-founded by Elon Musk, is moving to trademark several product names, including telepathy and telekinesis. You heard that right, people. I don't have to read the article. Elon Musk is trying to make telepathy and telekinesis a thing by having you be able to have a conversation with someone without speaking or through an implant in your brain. Bring to the poor white people realizing they niggas.
One thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. The poor whites have always, the old saying, if you convince a poor white person that they're better than a nigga, then you'll always have you'll always have their support. But I remember I saw years ago. I saw a video years ago of a young white male. He was complaining. He was like, "It's not fair that my generation ain't gonna benefit from what my ancestors did. I wanna reap the honey and the benefits of the rape, rob, and pillage that we did. I should be able to benefit from it. I don't want my generation to be the generation that don't benefit from it anymore and get punished." And it's like, hey man, time runs out for everything. A particular demographic of people, every time they rise up and gain power, it only lasts a couple hundred years. They're incapable of running an empire for 1,000 years. They can't. Because the way they do things is so extreme with everything they do. Whether it's trying to save trees, you can't cut down a tree ever again. Or if it's trying to deal with hunger or something, they do things in such extreme because they're not natural to the environment they're in. They're vagabonds. But anyway, Regina says, shit, if we didn't have so many life distractions, we all could do the telepathy absent white technology. Well, was it the CIA confirmed that? I still am surprised that people don't read those files that Trump released in 2018, I think it was, when they admitted, yes, there's a such thing as projection. There's a such thing as hypnotism. We use the air conditioner to do that. You can absolutely astral project. They actually admitted that they went to certain, what they call readers for information on solving crimes and stuff, which we know that's been public, but they've said this. They went to all that Eastern religion, Hinduism, all those religions over in India and Sri Lanka and Vietnam, China. They said this stuff is real. That's why when you look at Christianity and Islam and all those are like watered down versions of what they got in the East. That's closer to what they used to use back in, a long time ago. Brain says, I've been following Neuralink for the past 3 years. It won't work. The brain doesn't assimilate to the electrical non-human pulse. I research shit. Well, that's just Elon trying to play God. Which is what all this is. The whole robots, they start with something small, and then they try to make it into something else. They try to introduce new things. This is just them. It's just them trying to play God at this point. They think they can reinvent the human race. I see people always talking about how, they're gonna put the consciousness in a robot so we'll live forever. It's like, all right, if you wanna compete with the Most High, that's on you. True, Regina. Like animals don't need Neuralink. Yeah, empathy is enough. All right. More on the economy. President Trump demands that Congress pass stablecoin bill. Stablecoin obviously is a coin that's going to be attached directly to the dollar. You get one coin, you own a dollar. They think will help stabilize the dollar to make it where there'll always be the main currency. This is what they want at least. Y'all see gold. Gold is at $3,000 an ounce, ain't it? Per $3,000? $3,000. Last time I think, and I read this, I didn't go all the way into this. I'm pretty sure the last time there was a crash in 2008, it was at 1,000. Mystery Man. Oh, what up, Mystery Man? I'm back. YouTube banned me for a while. Oh, yeah, they get you up out of here quick. Good to have you back. So there's a lot going on, but Trump wants the stablecoin. He made a demand on Thursday in a video speech in Blockworks crypto conference in New York. The bill, which had already moved forward in the Senate Banking Committee, is designed to regulate private issued dollar-backed stablecoins. Brady said the campaign was funded by crypto, no surprise. Yeah, Trump is, it seemed like he's deep into the crypto. That's where Snoop Dogg, when he got in trouble for being at the Trump thing, it was a crypto event. Snoop is also obviously very, very into crypto for a long time. Yeah, clearly Trump, I'm saying this because if Trump has a stable coin, right? So there's a coin that directly is backs the dollar. Then what does that mean for? I saw somebody bring this up. What does that mean for individual banks? You talk about key banks, United, or all these other banks. That means they'll have their own coin, right, to be in their banks. I'm saying this to say, once again, I've been saying this for the past 2 months. Trump seems to be doing things that go against the Federal Reserve. I'm going to keep saying that. He keeps doing things that seem like he's trying to sneakily get around that and getting ready to try and remove them. Now, I don't know how that's going to go for him, but that's what it looks like. Virginia says, I just got a YouTube notification that reads how AOC and Bernie took over the Dem Party. Bernie Sanders sold himself out. I don't think he has any more influence. I think he emptied the clip already. After he got behind Biden, it was over. His supporters don't care for him anymore. At least I don't think. AOC, like I said, she's just another Nancy Pelosi at this point. The people who support her are just whatever. I don't think they'll win a presidential election. I don't know who the Democrats could run to win one. Virginia says, I think he emptied the clip too, and shit's nuts. She's nuts. Yeah. I don't think they have much more to say. What you going to get back on stage and talk about Medicare for all? You're going to talk about a universal basic income. You're going to talk about the free healthcare, the Medicare. You're going to talk about the same stuff. You ran that for 2 elections and lost. Now, regardless if you were cheated or not, don't matter. You were cheated by a party that you keep supporting. They cheated with Hillary and they cheated with Joe Biden, and you still supported them, got behind them. So you're not really into. You don't want war. You don't want smoke. So what's the point? Why bother running? Buy now, pay later deal with DoorDash, launching another win ahead of IPO. What do y'all think about being able to put DoorDash on layaway? Once again, man, I tell you where people are right now. The fact that you are ordering food from a delivery service and they're now allowing you to buy now, pay later says a lot. DoorDash customers can soon buy with Clara via full payments, interest-free installments, or deferred options aligned with payday schedules. Come on, man. Oh, wait, no. Come on, bruh. Come on. For Klarman, the announcement comes after it recently became an executive provider of buy now, pay later loans for OnePay, the Walmart-backed fintech company. The big bag option.
You just find a way to re-nigga again? Re-nigga?
It's going to be people in so much debt ordering food. Like, come on, man. But this is what America is built off of. America is built off of finding a way to make everyone in debt. Your credit is based off of your debt, so it is what it is. Virginia says, get rid of the Fed Reserve while putting food in on layaway. It's America, baby. But at some point, you got to make dramatic changes when things are going down. There's only so much money. They keep printing, and it's just inflating. And it's just getting to a point where something dramatic got to happen. And a person like Trump, he's regardless if you agree with it or not, he's somebody who's willing to make dramatic changes. He's come from a certain world where if I'm not number one, I'm losing. So he's going to do whatever it takes in his mind for America to be number one. Virginia says, well, more evidence of no middle, just haves and have-nots. Exactly. The middle class is destroyed. All right. Speaking of destroying, build and destroy. Fire and ice. Up and down, left and right. Let me show this. I didn't make it. What's going on there? Really? All right. Let's get to some more of these gang members. LA Crips leader, and because of that economy and the destruction of allowing people to have access to lower paying jobs through removing them for AI and robots at these fast food restaurants and leading to an economy that's making people tighten their belt a little bit more, you're pushing more people to these people here, these gangs, the people who prey on the desperate, people who prey on the weak. LA Crips leader who feds say posed as anti-gang activist arrested on charges including racketeering. Mr. says, I'm ordering some fried chicken and watermelon on layaway. Big U, if you don't know, the Rolling 60s on the rolling 60s back in the day, went to prison, got out. I think he got out like 20 years ago. I think I don't know how much time exactly he served. He served a little bit, got out, just said he wanted to do something positive, decided to be an anti-gang activist, created a foundation to help young men have options away from going to the streets and to gangs. Turns out he was lying, that he was actually using that as a cover for his extortion business that he was doing, which we already knew. California, LA in particular, but California is known for, their gangs are known for extortion. Like you have a lot of places like Detroit with Trick, no-fly zone. If I ban you from coming here, if you come here, it's gonna get done to you. You're gonna get robbed or something worse. I'm telling you, don't come here. Other places are the same way. California don't do that much. You don't hear them come out and tell somebody not to come back to California. It's like, no, come on over here. They'll actually convince you everything is cool, and it's cool, it's whatever. Then you get there and you're gonna have to pay some money to get up out of them situations they're gonna put you in. They like to put people in trick bags out there in Cali. But federal prosecutors arrested and charged the alleged leader of the Los Angeles Crips gang subset, who they claim posed as an anti-gang activist, the U.S. Attorney said. Eugene Henley Jr., 58, also known as the alias Big U, is the leader defendant named in the criminal complaint and was unsealed. That was unsealed Wednesday. The court documents accuse Henley, a prominent leader of the Rolling 60s chapter of the larger Los Angeles Crips, of running a mafia-like organization known as Big U Enterprise. The Department of Justice said Henley surrendered himself to investigators Wednesday afternoon after charges were announced. Let me play this video here of him going to turn himself in.
It's gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about him.
Nigga know exactly what's going on.
They just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it, so y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all: when they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about whack, loose cannon, 600. And this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these niggas saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this fuck shit. If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You're just guilty because somebody else don't like you and they go on the internet and do what the fuck they want to and y'all gonna promote it. It's crazy. But I'm going to go turn myself in though. Because I ain't did nothing. It's gonna probably
See, this is what get me. It's crazy to me how often these dudes will spend a chunk of their life robbing, shooting at, killing. So the worst you could think of. Get older. Fake like they're doing something positive. Sorry. Fake like they're doing something positive. And then start talking this black thing. As a black man, talk to me as a black man. Hey, was you saying talk to me as a black man when you was beating on, shooting at, and killing those dudes back in the day? When you were rolling for your gang, your rolling 60s Crip, when you were repping your set, and you saw another black man from another set, and you decided it was on site, did you want to just talk to him as a black man? Did you see him as your brother? These niggas, boy, I swear to God. Braden says low vibrational niggas, 58 going to jail is crazy. He was out of jail for 21. I think he been out of jail for 21 to 25 years, something like that. 21 years, something like that. 20 plus years. So that means you was doing dirt as a youth, went to prison, got out, got a chance to do something right, and still was doing dirt. You still did dirt. Like you have a foundation. You have backing from people giving you money. It's real. Like they think you're doing something positive, and you still manage to fuck it up. You still manage to taint it. You still manage to turn it into something that's a negative. You found a way to do that. You did that. They said 2025 is where I learned that Crips is an acronym. Well, they have many names for it, what the Crip mean. Mr. Man said he's a booty man. Brent says, when all else fails, play the black man card. When it's your lawyer, niggas turning yourself in without representation is diabolical. Where your bread? Yeah, I was listening to Wack point out. Wack said, well, nigga, why are you turning yourself in with your homeboy? You should have a lawyer who's telling you, first off, you should not have made any videos saying you're turning yourself in. You got on the internet and immediately told people, hey, Wack snitching, 600 snitching. They trying to take down a black man. You pretty much admitted that you might be guilty of something. You said in the video, in another one of these videos you released, you said, I was out of jail for 20 years, man. It is what it is. But I ain't done. That was you submitting that it's over, by the way. You was kind of saying it's over. Then you try to say, oh, but I ain't done yet. I ain't going down yet. No, you know. And ain't none of my business. But you know more than likely, if the feds are on you and you hit with a RICO, like, it's over. They only let you know it's over. They only let you know about it when it's already done. The investigation apparently been going on since 2021. And also, part of the case is a murder of a young man who was a football player. Very sad. A young man apparently that he allegedly went and got because he said he made a diss song. This is a young kid, by the way. He was a football player who was a part of, I guess, supposed to be a part of one of his programs to help the youth. He accused him of making a diss song, and the kid popped up, dead in a ditch. He left him in a ditch, allegedly. I don't know if he actually did it or not. That's what they're accusing him of. These are the people that's now talking about as a black man. You killed a young black male who had a whole life ahead of him. You 50-something years old, and you killed somebody who hadn't went to prison, who hadn't committed crimes that got their life destroyed and they had no opportunity, who still had a chance. Keeper says he's clearly a genius. Yeah, clearly. But it is what it is. He'll get what he deserves.
This afternoon.
Hopefully he gets what he deserves, and only what he deserves. Let me play this now.
This afternoon, the alleged leader of the Rolling 60s Crips gang made his first appearance in federal court. In fact, we just got this sketch in from the courtroom.
And they told y'all, they've been telling y'all, Trump and his administration and anybody associated with a certain party, they've been saying, we're coming after the gangs. They told you. They've declared you terrorist. And you still moving. I don't get it.
The judge ordered Eugene Henley Jr. to remain in federal custody at least until his detention hearing, which is now scheduled for March 31st. Henley turned himself in to federal agents yesterday. Investigators also looking into his charity and how he used donations and grant money. NBC4's Alex Rozier joins us live with reaction you will see for the first time only on 4. Alex.
Colleen, Eugene Henley Jr.'s charity received millions of dollars in grant money from the city's GRID program. That's the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program. But the feds say his charity was a front for his criminal enterprise. And today we're hearing reaction from other grant recipients.
Brady says, truth be told, a gang member don't have nothing on politicians. Agreed. Like I said last week, a lot of the politicians are funded by gang members. Drug kingpins, a lot of their campaign funding, especially the ones that start out on these local levels, their funding started with somebody who was in the streets. And as they get older, but as they get more into the politician arenas and go up the ladder, they try to disassociate themselves from the street dudes, and that's when you see some stuff that's kind of funny, whether it be some extortion going on, or somebody pop up dead, or a case come down on a certain crew, and you're wondering who snitched on them. No, it was the dude who made it in politics who, once he got tired of being associated with you, he just told on you. He worked with the feds. So it's one of those situations where you got the street dudes who are street. You got the dudes that play both sides and try to have one foot in, one foot out. Those are the worst ones. because that means you know what you're doing is wrong, and you try to act like you're better than what you is. You're not willing to stand on it completely.
Who reacted to this news? Eugene Henley Jr., known as Big U, is well known in the community.
This season 2 of Checking In.
On his podcast seen here on YouTube, he's been joined.
And he named the podcast he had Checking In.
By celebrities like Nick Cannon.
I grew up in a church.
And Snoop Dogg.
The big homie.
Yes, sir.
But Big U's also known for his nonprofit, Developing Options, that works to reduce gang violence.
They do tremendous work with youth, particularly around sports and gang intervention.
Dr. Robert Cicedo runs Community Build, another organization that works on gang reduction, and he knows Big U. Your experience with Big U has been positive.
Oh, absolutely positive.
And that's why he was stunned to learn of his arrest. The feds say Big U ran a criminal enterprise that committed a series of racketeering crimes, including extortion, human trafficking, fraud, and the 2021 murder of an aspiring rapper.
I was shocked to hear, but we're always shocked when we hear the initial news. And that's why I always tell people, hey, let's not rush to judgment.
The feds also said Henley Jr.'s charity was a front for his criminal enterprise.
Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes.
Court papers said Developing Options has received millions in grant money from the City of LA's Gang Reduction and Youth Prevention Program, known as GRID. Dr. Cicedo's nonprofit is also a GRID grant recipient, and even after the arrest, he's a big believer in the program.
The GRID...
Regina said, the reporter sounded like he wanted to choke on the word positive. It tasted nasty in his mouth in that moment.
Intervention and prevention employees across the spectrum of GRID agencies are really the silent heroes you don't know anything about or hear about. Several years ago, when murders in Los Angeles were at a high of 1,200 per year, that number's come down to, I think, just over a couple of hundred per year. And that's a direct result of us doing the type of work we do.
Not only does Dr. Cicedo believe in the program, he still speaks highly of Big U's charity.
I am aware of the great work that they've done in their section of town.
But Developing Options leader is now in custody, facing the possibility of decades behind bars.
We just need to let the process take its place and see where it lands.
Brain says when they decide you no longer need it, the hammer drops and all associated cut ties, same salad, different dressing. That's another thing. I saw a lot of people I saw a few people, and most people didn't say this at first. The fact that he got hit with this, with the connections that he got, means he might be an informant. You went into prison, you get out, and you immediately get access to these type of resources. You get city grants. It wasn't immediate, obviously. I'm sure over time he built some level of rapport with people, but you were allowed to build a relationship with people with all these resources. Is it possible he was some type of informant or some type of person working with the feds and wasn't willing to give up certain people? Or we know all the time that there are instances in history where a person will turn informant, turn fed, flip people, and then he'll go on with his life for the next 20 years, 15 years, and then at some point the feds just come back and say, no, we want you too, though. Because there's, in our deal that we made, there's crimes that we're going to let you slide with, but you've done things now that we can recharge you with for something else. We can charge you with something else now. So they just come back and get you later on. And that's how they trick a lot of these dudes, so, yeah. I did see a lot of people saying that Whack 100, who's been threatening certain things for a while, that he might be the person who did a lot of this work. But I want to say this, they didn't need Whack 100 when you got videos like this.
Movie production in the hood. That's how we do it, young man.
Top flight, baby. Security.
GB running this here movie set in the hood.
Come on out here.
Coming out here and checking in with GB, getting these movies done. You better know it. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in,
Oh, well. Check your ass.
That's extortion.
We're going to check you in, all right? We're going to check in all of your equipment. We're going to check in all of your equipment.
And that's why I say when people say, oh, man, these so-called gangsters and thugs get on the internet nowadays and And they telling themselves, well, it's the old dudes too. If this existed in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, 60s, they would have got on the internet and snitched on themselves the same way. Because they want attention just as much as everybody else. They want people to know that they're doing these type of things. They don't want to be quiet and just do things quiet. Ain't no gangsters no more. They're just gang members. Brayton says, do you know how much the USA paid informants in 2024? Insane. Snitching is a business. Didn't they say that informants get $50,000 a year or something like that? Like individual, $50K. That's not terrible. But I'm pretty sure that's based on the scale of what type of informant you are. Are you snitching on the white collar insider trading people? Or are you snitching on, the normal on the corner drug dealer? Virginia said that was a bar. Thank you. Anyway. And speaking of that, let me jump to this. White 100 denies Big U claims he helped feds build Rolling 60s RICO case. Yeah, I don't agree. Bro, one of the guys that was arrested, his name is, y'all might not know, his name is Brick Baby. Brick says millions, Warner Brothers movie studio. Oh, yeah. The guy named Brick Baby, gang member on a podcast, No Jumper podcast. So you have Brick Baby, you got all these other gang members that he's this white dude is bringing on his show. Same thing as Vlad. The dude from Philly, I remember the dude from Philly snitched on himself and got himself a life sentence, pretty much. Talking about how his plug gave him his plug when he died and all the he sold crack and all this. He was just telling on himself. These dudes get on these cameras and they want the world to know how much of a gangster they are, how much of a thug they are. And they tell themselves, and it's the cops just got the easiest job in the world now. These rappers or these entertainers, anybody with an audience, they just watch you. If I watch you for about 6 months, I have my RICO case done. 6 months is all I need. But yeah, this dude Brick Baby and all these people was Luke Cannon. Loose Cannon, I think that's his name. That's the dude that used to hang out with Wack on the show. He used to point out all these Loose Cannon. Because another thing that's tied to this story with Big U is Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle's murder a few years ago happened where he was shot by a dude. Allegedly, the dude came up to him and he was talking and he said, "You a snitch, don't talk to me." Dude got mad, pressed him, walked away, came back, killed him. Story didn't make sense because the dude that killed him went to a mental hospital to turn himself in to the cops. It just was a weird story all around. We talked about that when it happened. But the dude, Loose Cannon, I'm going to move past this because you may not care. Loose Cannon, he said that Big U called him and said, "Yo, Nipsey just got shot. Somebody just killed Nipsey." The Loose Cannon dude said, oh, he had a little conversation, hung the phone up, called somebody that know Nipsey, and said, "Nah, Nipsey cool, ain't nothing wrong. What you talking about? Everything cool." Then he said 10 minutes later, he got another phone call after that. So 30 minutes after Big U called him, he got a call from somebody saying, "Yeah, Nipsey just got killed." Now, it sounds like you're implying that this Big U dude knew he was about to kill him, knew somebody was about to die, and then 30 minutes later it happened. But maybe that's just a situation where the time was messed up or something. I don't know. But that's another thing people bringing up in the situation. Nipsey Hussle. And then you bring up Nipsey Hussle, you got to bring up Jay-Z, the airplane stuff, and his attachment to Nipsey Hussle. It's a lot of stuff that starts spinning.
Team needs.
Matter of fact, let me show this one. This is the Loose Cannon dude.
Team needs a bag. So what we do? Walk in the club. You had like 9 of your homies. It was like 30 of us. The security moved to the side. I said, "Meek, you know what's this
Meek Mill. He's talking about Meek Mill.
It's about." You started taking it off and handing it to me. You was polite about it, Sugar Plum. You was polite. Sugar Plum, you was polite. I hear Rose.
Rick Ross.
Hey, look. I got this. You got this artist you pumping. You don't want this to get out. We need 50. He brought 52, Crenshaw, and 48th. He brought that money. He brought it fast. And when he brought it, I hit Big Useless and said, we on our way. Gave Meek Mills his stuff back and left. And the team.
So he just admitted to robbery and extortion. Oh, God. But, you know, and it's funny how this checking in stuff only exists. We see it all the time when people bring up checking in. Everybody say the same things at this point. Y'all never tell the Mexican to check in. Y'all never tell a white person to check in, a Filipino, an Indian. Nobody got to check in with you dudes except another Negro. And to tell you the truth, it ain't really it's really only athletes and rappers. Because you don't really do that with actors either. They're too famous. The big actors are too famous, got too many connections. But the rappers and some of the athletes, they're the only ones that got to check in. Especially in Cali. When I was looking at Star the other day, and the dude brought up, one of his callers brought up, them Mexicans came into California and took the drug game from y'all. Just took it, cornered the market. And there wasn't much of a fight. Now back in the day, y'all would have had some race wars, but now when you hear people from LA talk about Mexicans, it'd be a little bit of soft shoeing. They don't go too hard. They don't go too hard when they talk about the Mexicans. You see, I saw that video last week. I showed a little black girl. The Mexican dude slammed her head into the desk and knocked her unconscious. That would be a thing in the 90s, the 80s. That would have been a thing. Now it's, you gotta let the authorities handle it. Virginia says, when he says security moved to the side, I recall Rev said I moved to the side so I could get the shot. MLK, yeah. Rev Messi Jesse Jackson. Yeah, that's when they snitch on themselves. That's when they snitch on themselves. Let's move forward to this. Hold on, y'all. They supposedly finally released the JFK files. It was supposed to be 80,000 documents. I think it was only 60. It's only 60,000, but it's supposed to be 80K. They released these files, and it didn't say anything we didn't already know as far as who they said the killer was, which was Oswald. But a few things in there that I'm gonna go through. 4 takeaways away from the release of JFK files. I was surprised by how much Martin Luther King name even came up. More on Oswald, no bombshells. The intelligence methods revealed. Old theories resurrected, which was that, some well-known online accounts have claimed that the recent documents reveal new details along alleged plot against Kennedy, even though some of the supposed revelations have been public for years. They included several viral posts about Gary Underhill, a World War II military intelligence agent. Mr. Underhill reportedly claimed that the cabal of CIA agents was behind the assassination, a theory openly published in Ramparts, a left-wing magazine in 1967. Mr. Underhill's death in 1964 was ruled a suicide, but the magazine cast doubt on that as well. Then they said the gunshot was behind the ear or something. Oh, that's maybe another case. The bulk of the new, not new. They asked for the files redacted. Now I'm going to jump to this. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Let me let this load up. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Brent says they released the JFK files and rescued the astronauts. Yeah, then they said that the reason why they didn't get the astronauts down sooner is because Elon Musk offered to help when Joe Biden was in office, but he denied it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Virginia says this is really a heavy roll. Was surprised too. Israel, yeah. When the files were officially released, they said they had no problem with anything in there. But then later, they seem to have had a problem with the Israeli intelligence thing being named in the document. They didn't want, because normally in documents like this, they normally don't put, this is the excuse they use. They normally don't put other countries in the documents just to not have them, some conspiracy come from it. But it is funny, it was right there. It was right there in the documents, right there. The dude Underhill that said he was agitated. This is one of the accounts of Underhill. He said he was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination. He confided he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. The document goes on. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in a Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it a suicide. Underhill, a Harvard graduate and former U.S. Army captain who worked as a journalist and intelligence officer during World War II, was said to be in the first-name basis with many of the top brass in the Pentagon and on intimate terms with a number of high-ranking CIA officials. The friends whom Underhill visited say he was sober but badly shook. They said he attributed the Kennedy murder to CIA clique, where she was carrying on a lucrative racket in gun running, narcotics, and other contraband. It noted that the CIA clique allegedly killed Kennedy because he caught wind of their business and was killed before he could blow the whistle. Wasn't Kennedy's grandfather or father one of them? Wasn't they moonshine run? They were doing the moonshine thing, right? Wasn't the Kennedys associated with like the mob? It was associated with mob, so I mean, I don't know how much of a clean sheet he had. Underhill's suicide was also called into question since he had been found with a gunshot wound behind his left ear. But Arsha Barnes, his writing partner who found his body, said Underhill was right-handed. So a dude who's right-handed shot himself in the head behind his left ear. Yeah. We're gonna say, yeah. So I'm gonna say this too. John F. Kennedy, his family secrets and his own, sexual proclivities and stuff get kind of covered up because of his assassination. But he was a freak boy, like as a Philly dude say, he was a freaky dude. Like his family was a crime family, really. He wasn't no saint. He wasn't nobody that was against gun running and stuff with the CIA. No, maybe he wanted his cut. I wouldn't say necessarily he was going to expose it. But no, but they'll say that he changed as he moved into politics. Let me play this right here. This is C-SPAN. This was an old clip where this man flat out said, Martin Sandler, who wrote the book, The Letter of John F. Kennedy, flat out said that Mossad, this is what he said, killed JFK. Hold on, let me let this load. And I'm surprised this was on C-SPAN. Although I will say, when I tried to download this clip, it kept saying video can't be downloaded. I'm not saying they're trying to stop nothing. No conspiracy. I'm just saying, I tried to download this video and it won't let me. I had to just go to the website. Hold on.
Discover Castle.
Making me play this ad, y'all. Give me a second. All right.
Have them go the way the book does. Just have almost every topic have at least one, and there's a very surprising series of letters between Kennedy and David Ben-Gurion, not only the premier of Israel, but the founder of Israel, in which they're very angry letters, in which Kennedy is saying to Ben-Gurion, I'm killing myself trying to get a nuclear test ban treaty. I've even got de Gaulle on board, and that's impossible. And you keep testing in Dimona. You've got to stop. And Ben-Gurion, thank you, in so many words says, it's easy for you to say sitting in Hyannisport. I'm sitting with the Arabs all around me, and you want me to give up nuclear testing. And Kennedy threatens him. And he threatens him in such a way that Ben-Gurion resigns. And I will tell you that I found articles, not in any crackpot publications, but in very sophisticated publications saying, forget Lyndon Johnson, forget the CIA, forget Fidel Castro. The Mossad killed Kennedy because they were so upset over what he did to Ben-Gurion. So, you know, we got a few little bombshells we throw in there, not proven.
Yes,
Yeah,
I hear you. Okay, your turn.
Bray says there are other people capping 60K papers of AI-generated uselessness. That's another thing that I kept thinking of, because I didn't read all these documents. I skimmed through a few pages where people were pointing out certain particular things that was in certain pages. But I kept thinking, how much of this is real, though? Like, they've had 60 years to shift through these documents and tell us and paint the story pretty much. So they can give you, as always, to give you a little bit, give you the small little smoke, small little fires, but don't give you the real bomb. So what are these papers, anything they release at this point, what is the point of us actually believing it? And yes, it's pretty much pointless. Virginia said the X-Files series has a tiny hat killing JFK. What up, Dre? Brayden says, we don't care about Kennedy. Drop that Epstein list ASAP. Bruh. They don't move past the Epstein list completely. They talking about a Diddy list. They don't try to move the conversation on to talk about a Diddy list. So you're not getting that Epstein list ever. You know, as they say, if you want to know who's the people with the real power, think about who you can't talk about. Now I want to show this because this is from the documents. Let me show this. This is what they wanted to be taken out. It says the group then turned to the discussion of number 32, agricultural sabotage. Now, what does this sound like to y'all? General Carter emphasized the extreme sensitivity of any such operation and the disastrous results that would flow from something going wrong, particularly if there were obvious attributions to the U.S. He went on to say, however, that it would be possible to accomplish this product by methods of subtle than the indicated in the paper. He mentioned specifically the possibility of producing crop. This sounds like chemtrails. There's more writing around this, obviously. But in these documents, they talk about chemtrails and what they're for, pretty much. They didn't use that word, but when you read what they're talking about, agricultural sabotage was flying over, dropping something to make it land on your food, and it's chemtrails. Brain says black people don't give a flying kick about who killed Kennedy. What happened with them white billionaires that got popped same time did? Some of this stuff intrigued me because I'm still wondering what was the thinking behind that submarine a few years ago. Remember the submarine that killed the billionaires? Allegedly. Because they said they did, but who knows? The white billionaire got popped same time. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that stuff. All right, let's move. And at the same, I think a day later, after the documents were released, this happened. CIA headquarters lockdown. Armed man sparks massive police response at Virginia campus. The situation involved an armed individual reportedly experienced a mental health crisis in a CIA property just outside of the headquarters. As a result, Dolly Madison Boulevard was closed to traffic in both directions between Georgetown Pike and Savile Lane. So a day after they released this, just so happened to be some man armed himself, barricaded himself. I think they ended up capturing him, I'm not mistaken. A significant police presence was observed. The situation involved an armed individual in CIA property just outside of the headquarters. As a result, yada, yada, yada. The department posted that the Special Operations Division, which included the county SWAT team, was at the scene. It was not immediately clear what sparked the incident, which was ongoing. Of course, they blame mental health. The response included the SWAT team, Arlington County. The CIA confirmed that there were threats at the gate, which were less than 10 miles from Washington, D.C. The incident currently under investigation. Authorities urging public to follow police directions in the area. So, yeah. Always some type of incident like that, right? When they allegedly release something that's supposed to be controversial, but wasn't really much in those documents. All right, I'm gonna run through this. JFK CIA sought to cover job for agent before secret overseas mission. South Vietnam. These are all the things that were in these JFK files. I'm just gonna run through a list. Southwest Vietnamese generals planned coup against Dine. Hold on. What the hell? Hold on, y'all. There was some stories that was included. Martin Luther King. I'm gonna have to go to the original one. Hold on, y'all. Let me go here. Almost. Hold on. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. CIA alerted global stations on Martin Luther King Jr. assassination. Lead classified cable from April 1968 shows the CIA's global network was mobilized to track suspected assassin of Martin Luther King Jr., identified as Eric Stavo Galt, using aliases Harvey Lawmeyer and John Willard. The urgent cable was sent to CIA headquarters for 50-plus global stations. CIA confirms James Earl Ray as MLK assassin. Declassified cable from the April 19th, 1968 reveals the CIA officially identified James Earl Ray as Martin Luther King's assassin. Ray was described as 5'10", 163, 174 pounds, blue eyes, brown hair, with scars on his forehead and palm. He used multiple aliases: James McBride, James Walton, W.C. Heron, and James O'Connor. The agency warned he was a dangerous fugitive with a criminal past and missing from Missouri State Penitentiary since April 1967. So a man escaped prison and killed, a year later, killed Martin Luther King. All right. Okay. Judge Joe Brown says something about this, though. I'm going to read what Judge Joe Brown said. Somebody asked him, what did he think about the files? He said, this contrived falsehood. Ray was not the assassin. There was a two-man team recruited by the FBI and supplied the weapon, an XM-21 and an ammo used. The weapon and ammo acquisition was reflected in a 1967 invoice for 5 XM-21s to the FBI. They listed one as lost for 1968. Then he went on to say, somebody said, I'm patiently waiting for your take on the JFK files as they continue to be released. He said, already seen a lot of them. Pay particular attention to the exchange between the lawyers from Billy Soule and the Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen Trott. We talked about Billy Soule when we talked about the audio that was leaked by his grandson, if I'm not mistaken, who released the audio where he pretty much said Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ, is the one who called for the hit on John F. Kennedy. He said the lawyers provide suspects to Trott. Trott promises the commutation of sentence if the evidence info pans out. The FBI is given the info and is supposed to conduct an investigation. They take a dive and tender a false report. Trott withdrew the offer and tells lawyers that nothing came of it. 35 years later, the retired Dallas detective who done the original investigation were able to use the information in ID prints on the rifle to as belonging to this person, not Oswald. This person was the suspect hitman in a number of unresolved murders in the late 40s. He's been convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to hang. In a few weeks, the governor of Texas commuted his sentence to manslaughter, and he was released for time served. Years later, after the Dallas cops got an order, they dug up the coffin. It was empty. There was nobody in the gravesite. So, Judge Joe Brown, I'm gonna say this: he be having a lot of things you can look up on your own, and it can be proven, or at least it can be believable. Hold on, let me. because it's funny he said that because the audio clip said the same thing. And when you go into the background of the Billy Soul dude, the businessman, it pans out pretty much exactly how he just described it. How it was all just a setup. Hired hitman. Virginia says, true regarding Judge Joe Brown. Yeah. It's funny because as a kid, when I was a kid and we watched his court show, he was hated. Like, people thought he was just an asshole. He was an old grumpy old man. But as I got older, you appreciate certain things about certain people. Once again, take the meat, leave the bone. I don't agree with everything about him, but yeah. One more on these files. Hillary Clinton announced she was running for New York Senate in 1999. 10 days. Now, keep in mind, I'm bringing this up because in these files, a letter was written in 1991 by John F. Kennedy Jr., where he wrote a letter to Joe Biden saying that he's a traitor. So John F. Kennedy Jr. called Joe Biden a traitor in 1991. Virginia says, the media, the government constantly plays with our common sense. Brayden said, if you dig up a body now, anybody, you won't find a body. But that's another story. I've heard very small rumblings of that. Explain that further. I've heard people say that when the open casket thing, so they show you, some people still do the open casket, even though I saw people saying now they want to change, do you really need to see it to identify if it's the person? Historically, we know why that existed, but do you still need that? But anyway, I've heard people say that when you're at a funeral and you see the body, then it's time to bury the person when you after the service, that the body a lot of the times is not in there. As a matter of fact, the casket you chose is not the casket that's going into the ground. So you pay however many thousands of dollars for a casket. You think that's the casket that's going into the ground. By the time a casket goes to the ground, they don't change the casket to something super cheap, and the body's not even in there. It's just yeah. I've heard those stories before too. I can tell y'all a story about what happened with, what happened when we lost our mom and how that made me look at it a lot differently. I remember, because that's the first time I lost somebody really close to me. Like, we've lost friends and family of distant cousins and stuff, but that was the first time somebody really close to me passed. And the things you think of, you realize how wicked the world can be. Because I immediately started thinking about the coroners and what they're doing. I immediately started thinking about other things, and yeah, death is nasty. America's nasty. You pay for life and death. But anyway, I don't want to go on around that. Virginia says, I know someone who worked at a cemetery, and they also told me what you think, about the dying process ain't even close. Yeah, I remember when we hear stories all the time about people taking their family, they passed away, they go to the coroner, and then they family members, by the time they reach the casket, it's a totally different face. Like, it's not even them. And they'll say, oh, that's just because of certain, things that happen after the body deceased. But I don't know, man. Organs be missing. It's a sad place. But anyway, John F. Kennedy Jr. called Joe Biden a traitor. So somebody pointed this out right here. John F. Kennedy Jr. And Hillary, because he was killed as well. The Kennedys are known for just getting assassinated at this point. Hillary Clinton announced she was running for New York Senate in 1999. 10 days later, her opponent, John F. K. Jr., who was a frontrunner, died when his private plane mysteriously crashed in the Atlantic Ocean off Martha's Vineyard. Hillary would go on to win her first election in her long, corrupt political career.
Remember John F. Kennedy Jr.? He was declared the frontrunner for the New York Senate seat back in 1999. Days later, his plane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, and his rival, Hillary Clinton, was elected senator. Mary Mahoney was a Clinton White House intern. She knew enough of the inner workings of Bill's sexual advancements to be a star witness during the Clinton impeachment trials. She was brutally executed at a Starbucks she was managing in 1997. In 1993, White House counsel Vince Foster was found dead in Fort Marcy Park near D.C. He supposedly killed himself, and among a lengthy list of potential foul play, the bullet was never found. Then there's James McDougal, a key witness for White House prosecutors. He was serving his 3-year sentence for bank fraud at the Fort Worth Federal Medical Center in Texas. And just before he was to give a testimony before the grand jury, McDougal suffered a heart attack in solitary confinement.
And shout out to a black man that called out that heart attack gun in the 70s, and people was calling them crazy. And then they announced, and then they got in front of the Congress and admitted that they have a weapon that can literally that can shoot somebody. They won't even feel it and can actually give them a heart attack. But anyway.
Remember John F.
But yeah, the Clinton body count is yeah, that was one of these cases. Because people made documentaries and wrote books about this. There was one that was real crazy. The dude allegedly they found a man in a park, if I'm not mistaken, hanging and had a shotgun blast in his chest. And you go, wait. And they called it suicide. So a person hung themselves and then shot themselves in the chest with a shotgun to commit suicide. Maybe I got the details wrong on that, but there is a story that's similar to that. I'm pretty sure it's associated with Hillary Clinton. Craziest suicide I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, brings us, Obama killed so many folks during his administration, they called him the drone ranger. Yeah, Obama was lighting up, particularly East Africa, and more Eastern, East Africa and those Western Arab countries, Southern Arab countries. Yeah, he was droning them like crazy. Ain't Obama the one who killed a literal civilian? Like, he killed a dude, and then he killed his brother in America who was on American land. Yeah, the Kenyans, a lot of those countries over there. He get away with it too. He get away with it because of his height. One, because he's been painted as black. So naturally, if it's a quote unquote black man in a position of power, people don't automatically see him as some murderous dude who's going around bombing people. But when you look at the actual numbers of drone strikes, it's the most. He killed more people than anybody. It was crazy. Yeah, Obama was vicious, man. And people were talking about when Trump killed Soleimani, the military leader of Iran. Like, that was crazy, but Obama killed a teenager on American soil with a drone. Like, there's levels to this. Like, this is different. But anyway, yeah, we can get to this now. Because meet Sheldon Dames, a U.S. Army veteran hoping to send Jasmine Crockett packing. So because Jasmine Crockett has been a big political story, she's been pushed to getting a lot of attention in the Democratic Party because of her antics and stuff she's doing. This guy here who's running against her was getting a lot of support. Not a lot. He was getting some support from people. And then he decided to come out and make a stance known to let people know where he's standing on a particular topic. Let me just show what that is. He made sure to come out and make this point.
So there's been a lot of talk about reparations in my comments. Folks asking over and over, they won't leave me alone about it. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I don't support them. I don't support reparations, and here's why. First, who would qualify? None of us today were ever slaves. None of us today were ever slave owners. There is no fair way, no realistic way of really trying to determine who would get what. And if we're being real, the government has already spent billions on social programs over the years, and it hasn't created or built any wealth in any community. It's just made people more dependent on the system. So instead of a one-time check, I'm about long-term economic empowerment. All
right, so I got to play the video. Y'all get the point. So amongst the people that were in support of him against her, some of them were pushed off by that. You see, well, that's the end of that. No research, no understanding, just grandstanding for white daddy. But the problem is, now people can change their opinion. 2023, 2020, he didn't have that opinion. People says, I hope her and AC stay in the forefront. They're unhinged. So at least 2020 to 2023, his reparations demand was different. And I'm not pointing this out for the reparations point. That's besides the point. Who cares? What I'm pointing out is, he said, we're demanding reparations for all nation states that participated in the institution of slavery and landed ADOS, in particular, stuck here in the U.S. So he was using the talking points of the ADOS FBA thing, and now that he thinks he has a real shot and probably got real backing from somebody, he's decided to abandon that platform. Maybe not completely, but he's abandoning that platform and going another route. That kind of tells you there's probably some backing he's getting from somebody that he thinks he has a real chance to win his race. Keeper said, driving reasonable people out of the Democratic Party. Yeah, Crockett, yeah, she's just going, I don't think she's in office. I think she loses her election. Regardless of this dude is somebody, I think she loses. I don't think she wins it. But amongst people in his area, because people were saying how people say if he gets support from AIPAC, he will win. That's what I'm thinking gonna happen. Although I didn't look up what is Jasmine Crockett's support of AIPAC. Is she in support of that, or ALPAC? Is she in support of that? Let me see something. Hold on. Let me see something. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Hold on. Well, apparently she doesn't. She supported the Israel doing what they're doing with Palestine, but I don't think she accepts campaign finances from them. Yeah, I don't think she do. Anyway, yeah, if he gets back from them, yeah, it'll be. We seen them take out the whole squad almost single-handedly, so it is what it is. But yeah, that's a race that's gonna be interesting, I guess. We'll see if enough of the black people in his district support. He was going back and forth with somebody who was saying how you're gonna lose now because you're not gonna get the black support. And he was pointing out, I got more than black people in my district, and that's not true, yada, yada, yada. So we'll see. Virginia says, socialism is communism not designed for upward mobility, and I agree. If he gets AIPAC money, he's in. And that might be his play. Croucher tried to stay neutral on Palestine and Israel. Yeah, I think she supported like one of the bills, the funding. She had to support, because they'll say the reason why they support a bill is because something in there that affects a whole nother agenda, so they have to vote for it to get that in. So I think she's voted for one bill that might have gave them funding, but yeah, she seems to not support take AIPAC money or ALPAC money. So it is what it is. In politics, that's a losing war. You either got to have an extreme base, like an AOC. You got to have an extremely rabid base that supports you and funds your campaign, or you got to take their money. Speaking of another campaign, though, Wes Moore is worried about Maryland's men. The governor has made an unprecedented commitment to help struggling men and boys. I said it last week with Newsom and a few of the other Democrat or liberal politicians, how the men at least are starting to go more center, or at least are starting to talk about other things other than the typical immigrant, LGBT, women's right. They're starting to go into other things. They're starting to change their platform somewhat. I'm not talking about him in particular, but just people who are trying to make themselves the front of the party. The men are attacking it a different way. We saw Newsom, who was admitting how much of a fan his son is of a right-wing pundit or commentator or content creator. And the governor has made an unprecedented commitment to help struggling men and boys. In February state of the address, Maryland Governor Westmore made a surprising announcement that this year his administration would begin implementing targeted solutions to uplift our men and boys. It's clear from the data that men are struggling. Male suicides are sharply up. Men have retreated from the labor force. Boys trail girls in education, and Maryland sends kids, the vast majority of them boys, to juvenile justice system at twice the national rate. On every single indicator we care about, more recently told Washingtonian, young men and boys are falling off. It's unusual for an elected Democrat. Listen, it's unusual for an elected Democrat to publicly speak about the struggles of men, let alone take steps to address them. To understand the significance of Maryland's new initiative, we called Governor Moore and masculinity scholar Richard Reeves. Here's what you need to know. Keep saying he's setting up for presidential run. Exactly. Bray said Baltimore smell like Badussi. But yeah, this is him trying to build his platform now. That I actually care about men and boys. I care about what's supposed to be at the center of the community and building it up. We saw with the viral post, with the viral comments from last week from on the Pivot podcast, we talked about it. Anthony Mackie, when he talked about American masculinity is dead, or the American male is dead. So him saying this and being a Democrat is clearly there's a shift towards the right, or at least the middle, in politics that some people are noticing. When Trump is in office, it just, you can't help it. The way his personality and how he moved and his supporters, it's impossible for him to be in office and things moving the way they are and not somewhat shift your platform. Because as Kiefer said earlier, if you keep falling behind the AOCs and the Jasmine Crockett, the party's going to be completely abandoned. It's just what you're doing ain't working. It's just not working. There's a real history. Now I got to play this right here. Speaking of another politician who's once again changed up his whole platform, got pardoned by Trump and stuff. Listen to what this man said at one of his meetings. There's a real history. This is Mayor Eric Adams. There's a real history for me. I had a shorty that lived out here. You know, used to come out taking that long A train ride, you know, in the cold. You know, love is blind, man. You know, taking that long A train. I did not have a car. And one or two times I didn't have a token. So yes, I did jump off with a turnstile. I'm not going to, it's over. The statute of limitation is over. The mayor said, I had a shorty out here. Brilliant. The nigga come out. I had a shorty that lived out here. You know, used to come out. My God. See, this is what they were talking about when they say single men and women shouldn't be in certain positions, because how they carry themselves and what they talk about just ain't gonna be. Come on, bruh. Come on, man. Braden says, long A train, pause. Hey, but in New York, he might have endeared himself to a lot of people by saying something like this. Hell, if Kumo plan on running again, then yeah, I mean, he's trying to be relatable, I guess. You know, it is what it is. It reminds me of that woman. I brought her up before. I think she's the prime minister or something of like Germany or Switzerland or something. I can't remember her name. She's very young. She's like 36, or maybe she's in her 20s. She's really young for a politician with that level of influence and power. And there was a video of her that went viral of her in the club dancing. So you had the prime minister or president of a country in the club, like dancing with her friends, like she just some single woman, she just out here partying. It was crazy. But then, you know, on the political level, when you talk about the type of married, not married, it didn't really matter. They still do what they're gonna do. So I'm gonna show you this little clip of somebody making a joke about it. Let me play this.
Adams is the only politician I know who look like he know where the hoes at.
There's a real history for me. I had a shorty that lived out here. You know, used to come out.
I don't want my politician to know where the hoes at. It's 2 a.m. Why are you out?
Come out taking that long A train ride, you know, in the cold. You know, love is blind, man, you know.
These are not mayor hours. You're supposed to be in the house.
And it's funny, if I'm not mistaken, that joke by him or that little step by him was old. It was actually an older clip he did. He ended up fulfilling the prophecy. All right, I'm gonna run through this. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna play this right here. This is from the Grits and Eggs podcast.
The biggest insecurity of white power is that you don't do anything. Your messaging is hatred, but your labor is nothing. You don't offer anything. You live a life of convenience. You live a life of like what seems to be the lack of luxury, but when the luxury is gone, what can you do for yourself? And everybody you would have looked down upon has skills. This was the issue with freeing slaves. These Irish fucks, these I was gonna call them niggas wops, but these Italians, these Polish people, all these immigrants that have no skills. They were comfortable being indentured service or given positions of power to oversee Africans, enslaved people. Well, when we free these people, I don't have no skills. All I've been doing is sitting on a horse. That ain't a job. I just think the fear is this: like, if we don't subject niggas in their mind to do the labor for us, right? Even when it comes to civil rights, even when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to human rights, period. Everybody expects black people to fight the fight they've been fighting. But here's the thing: every time we done fought fights and made access for everybody, just for y'all to come shit on us. Mm-hmm. Niggas talking about we ain't got no culture. You know what our culture is, nigga? Civil rights. Survival. Getting you somewhere, nigga. Huh? Yeah. Benson? Nigga named Benson Jean Pierre. Nigga want to come over here talking about black people don't got no culture. Nigga what?
I'm shocked that people still get offended by that line. That seems to be one of the few lines that people say that for some reason, black people in America still is somewhat of a thorn in their side. They can't ignore people saying that. They got to constantly defend what their culture is. But I want to show this.
I'm about to show you something extremely controversial. It's even illegal in the state of Israel to obtain this.
Shout out Mark for sending this.
It's illegal to show it and or talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, my DNA. Now, I bet you thought it was going to be a lot crazier than that, right? Now, you might ask yourself, why is it illegal to obtain this in the state of Israel? Because it proves through your DNA that Jews around the world have no ancestral ties to the land of Israel.
I saw this and I wanted to prove it. Shout out to Mark Gordon. He sent this. So this dude is saying it's illegal to get a DNA test in Israel. So I had to look it up and see. I'm gonna show this next one. What is this one? Oh, same thing. All right. So I went here and I read this because they send the fact check and they say right here that this is a false claim. So this is what the media, the news, is saying that it is a false claim that you cannot get a genetic testing in Israel. But when you read their actual, read actually how they went through to prove this, they literally say it is illegal. Well, no, they won't say it's illegal. They'll say it's restricted, and that you have to get court order in order to get certain tests, and it have to be lab tested rather than you doing it at a home test home kit. So I'm not going to read all of this, but when I read it early, so I'm not going to read this right now. In this, it literally says that in Israel, it is restricted that you can't get a genetic test without it being authorized from a court to a certain labs, and that you cannot use home DNA testing. Now, they're saying the reason why this is because they don't want somebody to use your DNA, your genetics for something else. You want to make sure your genetics are protected, your DNA is protected. They don't sound true.
I show you what I'm about to show you, your mind will be blown. You're going to be blindsided. Every single Israeli prime minister has a fake name. Did you know that? I was just talking about Ben Gurion. Do you know what his original name is? It's Grun. Gruen. He changed it to make it sound more Jewish and sound more Middle Eastern. Do you know what Netanyahu's real name is? It's not Netanyahu, it's Milkovsky. I swear to God, go and look it up. You'll find Milkovsky. That's his real name. These are, remember what Israelis are. Israelis are European Jews. They don't come from Palestine, but they want you to make you believe. They want to make believe and make you believe that they come from this area, that they are indigenous to the land, that they're so Jewish, right? Even though they have no connection. So they changed their names. Here's another one. Moshe Sharat. His name is Chertok originally. You've got Levi Eshkol. Eshkol was Shklonik. So he changed it from Shklonik to Eshkol. Then you have Yigal Alon. His original name, Peikovitz.
It's funny because he don't have to use prime ministers and stuff. You can see that, and we said this before. I keep saying yes. You could look at actors, just the Jewish actors in Hollywood. Like majority of them, their names is not their real name. That's just their stage name. Their real name, they change it on purpose. Now, I don't think they changed their name to just choose a better stage name. I think they changed their name because if people realize how much of the population they represent versus how many of the entertainers are them, it would be so extreme that people, and we know acting is not like sports, where in sports it's about who runs the fastest, who jumps the highest, who's the better shooter, who's the better catcher, who's the better thrower. It's results based. In Hollywood, when it comes to acting and comedians and stuff, it's about opportunities given. Talent is secondary in that field. So if majority of the people getting these opportunities come from one demographic and the names are sounding a certain way, people are going to begin to say, okay, this is getting kind of so they changed their name to blend in. The same way they changed their name, these Israeli prime ministers over there, they come to America and they join Hollywood and they also change their name to blend in more. Like Scarlett Johansson and all these people are Jewish. What's her name? The only one who stands on her Jewishness, not just from a standpoint of willing to say they're Jewish, but politically, that's that Gal Gadot woman. I think that's the Gal Gadot. I think that's how you say it. The one who played Wonder Woman. She is an ardent Zionist. She was participating in the IDF. In that movie she did, there was a scene where they painted IDF or Jewish soldiers as in a good light versus the Palestinian or Arab. And there was a lot of backlash she got from that because of her standout support for that. But yeah. Virginia says, I keep hearing this narrative he's sharing. What a time to be alive to learn closer to facts. Virginia says Hollywoodism documentary talks about this too. Virginia says agreed, Duke, it's culturally appropriate.
Golda Meir, Israel's first female prime minister. Her real name is not Golda Meir, it's Mabovich. Mabovich. More like mad bitch. We have Yitzhak Rabin, right? His name is not Rabin, it's Rubitsov. Are you seeing the pattern?
It's funny because a lot of these names sound like somebody from Ukraine or Russia. And you know that, funny enough, Russia has a very large billionaire Jewish group. Like a good segment, a good portion of the billionaires in Russia are Jewish. I remember right when the Ukraine war started, when America and Europe in general was trying to take assets from anybody associated as a Russian oligarch, a lot of those Russian oligarchs, they ran to Israel to protect their assets. Whenever those Russian oligarchs who are doing dirty business and get caught up in Russia, they run to Israel to they have dual citizenship. They run to Israel. So it's funny. A lot of these names sound like Eastern Europe or Russian.
And these are Eastern European names, not Palestinian, not Jewish, not Middle Eastern. They're Eastern European. Okay. They're not Palestinian. They don't come from this region. Yitzhak Shamir. He's a great one. You know, Yitzhak Shamir, he's on the wanted poster because he was wanted by the British police in Palestine for terrorism. But they don't tell you that. So Yitzhak Shamir, his original name is Yezernitsky. Yeah.
All right, so we get the point. Hiding in plain sight, or at least trying to. I saw this on a news. Brain says, how convenient to change your name and not your skin color. Well, that's when you can blend in and separate at the same time. Dual allegiance, and nobody has to know about one of them. Until it's obviously once they're established in the industry and they got their money and fame and all that stuff, then they'll tell you they'll be more open with their quote-unquote Jewishness. Let me show y'all this, because I didn't know this. This day in Jewish history. This is a article on Haaretz, where in 1903, Herzl proposes Kenya, not Uganda, as a safe haven for the Jews. Anti-Semitism was rearing its head in Europe again, and the Jews needed to flee, but where could they go? The British had a suggestion. So before they made a decision in the late 1920s to take their ass to Palestine, initially they wanted to go to Kenya or Africa. Like, think about that for a second. They told us the reason why they was able to go to Palestine and quote unquote take that land is because God gave it to them. But here, they were planning on doing it to Africa. On August 26, 1903, the founding father of Zionism, Theodore Herzl, proposes British East Africa as safe haven for Jews. Speaking of the Sixth Zionist Congress, the Uganda scheme, as it's usually called, even though the territory proposed was in part of today's Kenya, caused bitter controversy within the Zionist movement. I thought that was a fun fact that I never knew, that Israel originally was going to be, or the Israelis or whatever they call themselves, those European Jews, originally they were thinking about settling in Eastern Africa. Bree said the story keeps changing, looking for a homeland. It's in the mountains, exactly. They know who they are. They're vagabonds. They have no land. They forever roam the earth looking for somewhere to be. British East Africa, huh? Yeah, and the same thing, and that goes along with what's that country? Ethiopia. Ethiopia has a very what's his name? The last king, Sosili. I forgot how you say his name. Sosili, King Sosili. He had it when he ran up out of there. He ran to Britain, had a home there, and when he went back to Ethiopia, he actually donated the house that he lived in to the British government. To this day, you can go there. It's like a monument, like a historical monument now. Bree said, always the warm, fertile climate. Yep. They always want to be in the fatness of the land. Let me show a little the video breakdown of this through Arab News.
Imagine if Israel was part of East Africa instead of Palestine. Although it may seem far-fetched, the idea was in fact seriously considered and almost came into effect in the early 1900s. Zionist leader Theodore Herzl turned to the UK, who offered to resettle Jews in Britain's colony in East Africa. It was known as the Uganda Scheme. Herzl brought the matter before the Sixth Zionist Congress in Switzerland in 1903. It passed the first hurdle with a majority vote. However, plans fell through at the Seventh Zionist Congress after experts who visited Uganda found it unsuitable for Jewish settlement. And by an overwhelming majority, the Congress voted to reject all colonization
Keep it said scheme. Crafty council. That's who they are.
schemes, except those in Palestine. Shortly after, Jews from Europe began to flock to Palestine. And in 1917, Britain issued the Balfour Declaration, which backed the idea of a national home for Jewish people in Palestine. As tensions between Jews and Arabs rose, the United Nations voted to divide Palestine into Jewish and Arab states in May 1948, when the British mandate was scheduled to end. This led to the Nakba, where more than 700,000 Palestinians were displaced. And after 70 years of occupation, the number has grown to 7 million Palestinian refugees worldwide.
You know, this is not my, the Israel-Palestine thing in modern day, at least, it ain't really our business. But from a historical and a spiritual standpoint, years ago, I used to research this Palestine and Israel heavily. So when I did all this, I realized like the first 20 so years of them taking over Palestine. They committed so many war crimes, so many terrorist acts. They did some very heinous, like the war crimes that they committed. I know people talk about today with them blowing up kids and stuff. Bruh, they blew up hotels with innocent people. They did some sick stuff. And the plan was to simply take over the land. That's it. And try to form Greater Israel, which is why Iran is a problem for them. Brinton, they would have died. Remember when Henry Ford tried to build Fordlandia in Africa? Crazy. I never heard of that. Fordlandia. Hold on. Fordlandia. I never heard of that one. Hold on, man. Let me. All right. Let me just do a quick little on that. Yes, Jason Square Commons. Yeah. Oh, that's in Brazil? Is that you talking about the one that's in Brazil? Or you talking about when they try to do it somewhere else? They're always scheming, said Kiefer. Henry Ford also wrote a scathing book about them that's hard to come by as they tried to ban it. They probably did. Oh, yeah. The one that's in, he tried to build a city in Brazil. Oh, wait. I think I heard, is that the place where he tried to turn it into like this like the city or whatever is really just a job? Like the entire city is built to just be people live there, work there, marry there, where everything is just on hand. They try to do that in America too. You want to watch something good, Brazil? My bad, it's YouTube doc, film good. All right. Yeah, there was a city I read about, plenty of cities they tried to do in the early 1900s. Yeah, rubber factory, yes. Yeah, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they were constantly trying to build these, I don't know, factory cities, I guess you would call it, where the workers worked there, lived there, married there, bred there. Everything was in this city. The whole city was just a big job. It's a big warehouse or whatever. Yeah, I heard that before. So I can imagine they try to do that in another country too. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm not surprised to do something like that. It tells you how wicked these people are. They want people to eat, sleep, and breathe, making them money. It's crazy. Do I need to show this one?
If black is...
Yeah, I should.
Of Africans that love white people more than Nigerians in Nigeria. I had to be specific. Nigerians are the most arrogant, confident, brash, loud group of people you will ever meet. But that loudness is only when we are in proximity to other Nigerians. The moment a Nigerian in Nigeria spots a white person, a person with straight hair, or a person with specifically a British accent, that accent has a psychological effect. That is our cone chip activator. You will notice that the average Nigerian is remote controlly subdued. It is why when you go to a restaurant, you go inside that restaurant as a Nigerian, they'll tell you to get out. They'll even answer you. Go inside as a white man, you see them, hey, oh my God. Hey, Jesus. Hey, white man, please sit down here.
I show that because this reminded me of when what's the king of England now? What's his name? The son? I forgot his name. Damn. When Queen Elizabeth died, and the son went into that, he met his staff, and the black or the African British woman, she got down on her knees and kissed the floor. And it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. He said, did he say coon chip activated? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say this. It's just like everybody else, every other demographic. Nobody talks crazy about their group more than the person who's a part of that group. Like, you just go in like crazy. And I want to show this one here.
It's the original color, and Africa is the original motherland, where everybody came from, where every race originated. Originally, the whites, Caucasian, the Mongoloid Asian, the Australoid, the Hispanic, and the Latino, being the indigenous to Central and South America, the Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, the Native American and Alaskan natives, the Middle Eastern people. If we all came from Africa originally at one point or another in the past, then that would mean that everybody in the world, you and me looking at the phone at each other, are black.
That race and all that stuff get confused now, because ever since they made that claim from when those scientists came out and said, "Oh, the birth of the world, the mother of all civilization is from Africa," and it's led people to push this, "Oh, everybody's black." Like, no. There's different people that come from. You can come from, or at least historically, people come from one person or a certain group, and when you splinter off and you go to another environment and you build there, you turn into something else. Who you mate with, your environment, even the food, everything about you can change genetically. So not everybody is black. Breen says everywhere the white has traveled, a black man has been there to greet him. Facts. And that's why the American story, when you realize they used to call Eastern America, the East Coast of America, a lot of those places were called the Caribbean. You talk about Virginia and stuff. They were calling that place initially Caribbean because it was obviously right there with the islands. And when you read the books, the first person they met was a quote unquote average height, average weight, dark skin, man or woman. That's who was there. Then you start hearing these stories about these Mongoloids on more the West Coast and how they're the natives, and it's just like, all right, man. Because when they got here, there was already somebody here too. But let me move to the last. Oh, I'm gonna save this right here for next week because I've seen people. I keep saying people talk about the culture or whatever, and I've seen a lot of people. Because this person right here said the Black Panther Party was smart, but not seeking out religious people for membership. And a whole bunch of people respond to that. And my first initial thought was, wait, if during that time, and I'm gonna keep saying regardless of what people think, if part of Black culture in America was Christianity, and you say you don't want to work with people who are religious, and the majority were religious, then weren't you just kind of shrinking the population you could work with? Even though the Panthers used to use churches and stuff to do, some of the good deeds they did, but I'm gonna get into that next week, the foundation of Black American culture and how a lot of the things we say, how we carry ourselves, the beliefs that we have as far as how you carry yourself as a man or a woman in our community, the sayings we use are directly from that book and how we just remix things, and but it is what it is. I'm gonna talk about that next week. So I'm gonna jump to more of this week's Trump news. I'm gonna run through this in a couple minutes and we're gonna get out of here. I'll let y'all go. Hold on. Trump getting rid of Voice of America, by the way, the publication they use for America's propaganda propaganda blowhorn, pretty much. They going dark. Apparently on some of the stations, they're just playing music. That's a big deal for that to happen. Billions of dollars were poured into Voice of America. And now Trump is, like everything else, taking the money out of some of this stuff. Hold on, let me move here. All right. Jane said, what's Voice of America? Never heard of it. It was a news or whatever you want to call it station that was used to push America's point of view. That's why I say Voice of America. It's American propaganda. It's what the United States government funded this. It's what they want people to believe about much of what goes on, whether it's international or national here in America. Certain stories and stuff, how they cover it is what they want the overall belief to be. Trump pulls the plug on Voice of America, but Russia and China keep their government-funded broadcasters on air. Remember also Trump exposed, with Doge at least, that they were funding a lot of independent media were being funded by the United States government. And Regina says, isn't all of the news media considered American propaganda? Well, yeah, but Voice of America is directly like, it's understood. This is ours. The same way Russia has RT and China has, I think China Morning Post and probably some other ones. Voice of America was the media of the U.S. government. Directly funded, openly funded, even though we know they give money and subsidies to these other people too, but yeah. Regina said, I better check it out ASAP before they completely pull. News to me. Yeah. They haven't completely gotten rid of it. It's just seems like they're rolling back slowly. I don't know if he's going to completely get rid of it. Moving to this, Trump claims Biden's pardons of January 6th committee members are void, vacant because they were allegedly signed with AutoPen. Now, this is not the first time that a president used AutoPen to sign anything. But Trump is making it a big deal. You see here, the pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by AutoPen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during the 2-year witch hunt of me and many others many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge of or consent of the worst president in history of our country, crooked Joe Biden. Trump is vindictive. He don't quit. Once you're on his shit list, he's coming for you. It's up forever. He will find some way to get some level of revenge against you. The thing that came from that was him saying that Joe Biden didn't know about all the people they were pardoning. The AutoPen part, that's not new. But the fact that he's assuming or saying that he did not know. Hey, man, if you got beef with Trump, you got to make sure it's ironclad. You come at the king, you better not miss, because he's now, I don't know how far this will go, because I've seen one of the Supreme Court justices, they came out and said, this is, you can't, this is BS. No, this is going nowhere, basically. You can't void pardons. You can't do this. This is not how this typically goes. This would be a whole new thing you're trying to do. But if Biden didn't know, which he will never know he didn't know, then that means either it was his wife, Obama, Nancy Pelosi. Who was it that was really, because the part that gets to me is a judge, when Biden was being investigated for his misplacement of those documents. Remember the documents they kept trying to make a big deal about with Trump? Oh, Trump has documents that he not supposed to have. And then not a few weeks later, it turned out that Biden also has documents he wasn't supposed to have. Documents that were ended up in Chinatown. And then all of a sudden they didn't care about documents no more. And then a judge came out and said, hey, Biden is not mentally fit to remember. I couldn't expect him to remember what these documents, what he was doing with these documents and stuff. So we won't hold him to anything because he's not mentally fit. And immediately I thought, well, if he's not mentally fit based off a judge's saying, then he shouldn't be president and he shouldn't be running for president. Now, obviously, he ended up dropping out of the race, but he should have been forced to step down right there. So if he's unfit to know what he did with those documents or what was going on, then that means he wasn't fit to sign any pardons, any more bills, nothing. But anyway, Cupid said, I'm here for the petty. Breen says, I brought a whole truck online and it was delivered. AutoPen, everything. Yeah, so we'll see how far this goes, because if I'm Trump, I'm bringing it up what that judge had to say. How can you sign pardons and you can't be expected to remember what you did with government documents. But anyway, was this Trump admin no longer requires ban on segregated facilities and government contracts. So this is when it led to the hoopla about, oh, segregation is coming back. Trump got rid of them requiring, he no longer requires a segregation ban, so it's coming back. It's the same thing I said with affirmative action. If people don't want you around them, they're going to find a way to get you from around them anyway. If this creates a situation where people are openly segregating you from their, not hiring people from their companies and stuff, then that was already happening, or they were already finding a way to do that. Maybe a handful of y'all slipped through, but they were already doing it. This is making it easier if they was already doing it. But they over-exaggerate, as they always do when Trump does something like that. Breen says the new racism is dying racism. Well, that's why I said I've been saying for the longest that they're using race to cover up the real agenda that they have together. So Trump doing the whole segregation thing, immediately people think black. But segregation is not just race. It's also gender. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Now, this is a time of war. Trump doubles down on mass migrant deportation. Donald Trump is insisting that this is a time of war amid a showdown over invoking an act allowing the mass deportation of immigrants. The president defended his decision to remove 200 illegal alleged Venezuelan gang members as a federal judge issued an order temporarily barring the deportations. So basically he did this right here. The invocation of the Alien Enemies Act regarding the invasion of the United States by the Tres de Agua, the gangs. He deported them to El Salvador. We talked about that a few weeks ago with the president there. He told Trump, hey, you can send the prisoners here. We have this mega prison. We need people. We'll take them on, trying to build a relationship and get his money up. He did not send Americans. That was the thing I was wondering. If American prisons are overflooded, would he be willing to send American citizens to serve time in his prison? He didn't. But he also said the prison is in pretty bad shape. U.S. deportees face brutal conditions in El Salvador mega prison, severe overcrowding, inadequate food. Let me play a little video of it here. Hold on, y'all.
Looking to level up your medical business?
All right. And I read it wrong. Breen says the new racism is denying racism. Oh, yeah, my bad. All right, so you get the point. Let me move this. This is the Alien Enemies Act, what to know about a 1798 law that Trump has invoked for deportation. President Donald Trump on Saturday invoked the Alien Enemies Act for the first time since World War II, granted himself sweeping powers under the centuries-old law to deport people associated with Venezuelan gangs. That's why he called them a gang, called them a terrorist group. Because in a time of war, you're allowed to move these people along, which is what it sounds like he's about to declare war against cartels, right? That's what it seemed like he's going. Hours later, a federal judge halted deportations under Trump's order. The act is a sweeping wartime authority that allows non-citizens to be deported without being given the opportunity to go before an immigration or federal court judge. Trump repeatedly hinted during his campaign that he would declare extraordinary powers to confront illegal immigration and laid an additional groundwork in a slew of executive orders on January 20th. His proclamation on Saturday identified Venezuela Tren de Agua gang as an invading force. U.S. District Judge James F. Bossberg told, who was appointed to the President Barack Obama, blocked anyone from being deported under Trump's proclamation for 2 weeks and scheduled a Friday hearing to consider arguments. In 1978, the U.S. preparing for what believed to be a war with France, Congress passed a series of laws that increased the federal government. Increased the federal government's reach, worrying that immigrants could sympathize with the French and Alien Enemy Acts was created to give the president wide powers to imprison and deport non-citizens in wartime. The same thing happened with the Japanese. Same thing happened with them, where they were putting those concentration camps in America. Since then, the act has been used just 3 times during the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. During World War II, with anti-foreign fears sweeping the country, it was a part of the legal rationale for mass internment in the U.S. for people of German, Italian, and specifically Japanese ancestry. An estimated 20,000 people with Japanese heritage, including those of U.S. citizenship, were incarcerated during the war. Green says, "Black folk, refill your popcorn." This not exactly. So he said it already. He made sure to call gangs and cartels terrorists. He called the cartel a terrorist organization. The United States officially declared them a terrorist organization, which the Mexican president didn't like, because she already knew that meant that he may try to put boots on the ground in Mexico. But now that he has invoked this right here, that means he can deport these people who he says is affiliated with a cartel. He can now just flat out get them out of the country as quick as possible without having to go through all the hoopla. But yeah, this looks like he's going to at some point soon declare war on the cartel. That's what it looks like, at least. Officially. I can skip that. Oh, let me show this. Arlington scrubs race and gender from cemeteries website. Arlington National Cemetery, the final resting place of presidents, generals, Medal of Honor recipients, and more than 400,000 service members, their families, has purged the website of material focused on Black, Hispanic, and female troops buried there, officials confirmed Friday. Well, it turned out what they actually did was they simply got rid of the categories of race and simply made everybody, a serviceman, a servicewoman. They're in there on the website. They're just not under a race or gender. What's led to this? Trump signs executive order to dismantle the education department. What do y'all think about that? I've seen a lot of fear mongering saying that this is going to defund a lot of things with the Department of Education being dismantled. Completely eliminating the department would require the approval of Congress. I've seen a lot of back and forth on this. And I'm going to say it. Immediately, I saw somebody make a whole rant about how this will affect young Black children and their education. Understood. But I keep saying this has nothing to do with Black people, how they're moving. How they've been moving the last 8 to 10 years is for one reason and one reason only. Keeper says, fantastic. They're moving like this for one reason and one reason only. Hold on.
Order to begin. Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all.
All right. I got to show this one thing, why this is happening. Why is Trump, his party, why are they going after certain things? Why are they moving this DEI, this affirmative action? I already said this. I'm going to show this one last time. What this is really about. Here you go. This is what it's about. This is why Trump, his party, this is why they're moving towards this DEI, affirmative action, anything that has to do with anything about gender or race. They act like gender is number one, but it's really, race is number one, but it's really gender. Amongst the NBC poll, opinion on Trump, white man with no degree, love him. White man with a college degree, it's a positive push. It's a positive push. White women with no degree, like him. White women with a college degree hate Trump. And it's not just about hating Trump. Amongst the mirror statistics, I think it says 69% of divorces are initiated by women. That's not surprising. It is what it is. But it goes to 90% when you introduce a woman who has a college degree or a college education. So women who have a college degree, particularly white women, are more likely to ask for a divorce, not have kids, single, over 40. The marriage rate, the birth rate, this is why they are doing this. Keeper said the state's Department of Education has been ruining the education system for years. The kids in public school are now struggling. Well, the fact that we look at black boys in particular, black boys don't read at a third grade level. So to the black people I see complaining about him getting rid of this Department of Education, it clearly has not benefited us. Clearly, the way the educational system is built right now, the way it's functioning right now, it's not working to our benefit. So a change wouldn't be that big of a deal, would it? You know, but once again, this ain't even about that. They're just trying to replenish their numbers and fix their culture, as they say. They want them married and barefoot. Oops, there it is. Yeah, they want them married and barefoot. For instance, sure, the government only funds 10% of DOE. The food is controlled by Committee of Agriculture, not DOE, pipeline to prison. Yeah. So this is not, it should be a bigger deal when it comes to the racial component. And this is going to grow, obviously. Right now, they're focusing on Department of Education. But their colleges have been targeted, too, for the last decade. They've been critiqued on the, well, they already did that with the critical race theory. They wanted that out of a lot of the high schools and stuff. So I would think in the next coming years or months, you're going to see even harder push against colleges and certain scholarships. They did that with black women, the scholarship for black women. The white dudes went to court for it and said it was discrimination and got it defunded, got the whole program removed. Which we know that they're also going for the white women scholarship. Not just the black, it's the women part they care about. But yeah, they're trying to get their numbers back, man. The both sides are okay with immigrants coming in. The Republicans simply want them to remain as the bottom caste, you know, like Jasmine Crockett keep bringing up who gonna pick our fruit and stuff. That's where the Republicans want them to stay. Problem is you bringing in these immigrants and you're making them the CEOs of companies. You're giving them resources that the native citizens don't have. So that's the complaint. The left wing want them to come in because they think by bringing these immigrants in, they'll gain more political power because these people, they believe at least, are more likely to vote for them. Even though that's not really the case once you get past. Well, they normally only get that support about 3-4 generations in, unless they're just some Cuban family. Virginia says, so you mean to tell me that Lois Ray and Shaquia, no disrespect, is still smarter than the average white woman? You don't say. Optical illusions is powerful. Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. Anyway, how long have I been going like this? All right, 2:30, shorter week. I'm gonna get up out of here and let y'all go. I'm good. I'm definitely gonna look up that Fordlandia thing though. Ford City. I'm gonna look that up definitely. Very sad. Definitely gonna check out that Fordlandia though. Great show. End strong, everyone, and start fresh on Monday. Peace. Yeah, peace to everyone. As always, be sure to like it on your way out. Subscribe if you're not. Share it if you can. And as always, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.